Okay. Yeah, so the last session we're going to have today is about how to ask for help. So this is based on some slides you can find on Zenodo by Radovan Post, and there are some general like thoughts about how to ask us for help. And yeah, so what topics we're going to look into? Yes, so what kind of help we have available, and thinking about a little bit on how to go about asking for help and when it's needed. And we want to go through a bit about how to write support requests so that the feedback is quick and also useful to you. Yeah, also often it's good both for us to be able to help, to have some reproducible examples, and also it's good practice in general, just to understand your how your code behaves on the system. Yeah, so we will go into the value of growing calculations and simplifying problems. Yes, and all of these will help us helping you and get a better experience when solving issues. Yeah. So these slides have been made in several based on several other previous work, and also this is a bit about how, for instance, the documentation that we have, where you can get in touch with us. And like many of my colleagues in the support line, I've spent some time on both sides, both research side as a PhD student and asking questions, and then now as part of the support. Yes. So yeah, in general, when I have a problem, where do I usually start asking for help? And in general, I would often like ask a colleague, have they experienced the same thing as me? And maybe they already work with the code that I'm working on, and they have experience in running the system, or can give me some guidance on where to go next. Yes. So, but if your colleagues are if your colleagues haven't worked with the specific code, for instance, or you want to go and ask somewhere else, of course, most people would also, if it's very technical question, you would go and ask a search engine, which is often the first thing you do. And if you know that the code or the system that you are working with has a documentation, that's also a good place to start. But again, you would need to find this documentation in some way in order to access it. Yes, and then there's other ways of finding solutions that might be different from different problems. Yeah, Sabi, when you look for a solution, where do you usually go first?
So some very good points, Siri, because when there's a problem, like when I have a problem, I'm the one who knows most about the context now, why this problem happened, what I try to do.
Mm.
And then we sit on the other side, as humans, we are also humans. Then we know something more about the system than the regular users because we work on that. But we don't know much about that specific software or that specific scientific domain or that error. So it is best that you try to find out a little bit more, like when there's an issue, and then also send us the information. Like, don't try to challenge us by asking question, but try to get help from us to solve your issues.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, and then apart from this list, you could also try large language models these days a little bit more, so to
Yes.
get more context. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So in this list, for instance, the issue tracker is what gets to us. If the problem is that you are new to the system or something on the system changed and you wonder what happened, this is where you would ask us questions. Sometimes we have also Q&A sessions. Those will be advertised often in the documentation, and or we can in some institutions we have mailing lists that advertise this. Yeah, so I think that's most of where to yeah. So on this list, how to get in touch with us. Yeah, so that's how to ask for help, and then when to ask for help. And yeah, don't hesitate. We are here to help, and no questions are too small, and we are happy to help. And it's often easiest both for you and for us if you tried to solve some of the problems already and give us some context on what you have tried.
And also maybe obvious errors like Siri, when you try to create this file, an empty file in your home directory, it
Yeah.
was saying quota exceeded.
Yes.
And if you are running a job, it will not even write the log files because of the quota is exceeded.
Yeah.
And maybe before sending the help, you could try commands like usage that you learned today to see obvious issues.
Yes. Yeah. So now, since you know the deusage command, it's easier to find out this because if your job just crashed without any output, then it's quite you need to know about how to look for that error. And yeah. Okay. Yes. So working on problems. Yeah. So don't sit by yourself too long. That's a good thing to think about. And also, when you ask for help, it's good to have like what kind of level uh, you're asking for. Is it just advice, or is it something more like an installation, which we are very happy to do? And how, for instance, scaling on the system, some advice or help in seeing how your program is scaling on the system. Yes, so who's on the other side? It's human beings like us. Most of the instructors in this course are also in support lines sometimes. Yes, so for for me, for instance, sometimes it's hard to ask for help. I would maybe wait or think that maybe my question is too simple, but we always try to remember that the person asking questions maybe have 20 less years less experience on the system that we are working on. But they have more experience on the science behind, because most of us, knowing that we do not know everything. Many of us have a PhD in a specific area, maybe, but we definitely don't know everything specifically about any. Yeah.
So, Siri, there's a relevant question in the shared
Yes,
document.
for
So
sure.
somebody want to run like a specific climate model with specific setup. So they're asking like if you have like a specific need for like that, is it okay to ask for help? So I would like to mention, as we are like talking about it, there are different levels of help. The first line help is for something where not working, something broke, that kind of thing. But if you want help which involves more than just a help, you could use, there are two kind of additional helps that you could ask. One is the advanced user support, which you could apply for advanced user support for a longer period, and also smaller project specific support, which would take longer. So if you have like a specific need and you know that you want to do this big thing, but you don't know how to exactly do it, it's better not to have this discussed in a ticketing thread with a specific user support person. As said, like most of us have a PhD in certain fields as well, but the person who taking the ticket might not have the expertise of that field. For example, if the ticket is handled by a person who's an expert in bioinformatics and the ticket is about climate data, then you might not get the exact help. So in that case, if you know like a very specific and you know that it's more like advice and it also involved scientific interpretation, like science involved, not a research question, not just a technical question, then go for a advanced user support or a extended user support. And also, please remember, like if you get more help for a publication, for example, if you are working on a publication, and if you get more help than just fixing a software, some research question was answered, then please include some acknowledgement for that person who helped. So we see that a lot of articles being published by our users. They use a lot of our help, and some of our colleagues has been having involved, but they don't get they don't ask for the recognition. But it's good to recognize, acknowledge that you got more help than just technical help. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And yes, so one of the other things that on support line we are rotating. So every week there is a new set of people answering the first line. Yeah. So if you have a ticket going over a week, sometimes it will be handled by the same person, but sometimes it will be handed over to the next person at the next week. And again, since these are being tracked in this issue system, we do keep the context of everything that has been written back and forth. But if you get a new ticket, then you would have a new context completely. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So if I had a question, I need to think about how much should I write when I ask. And in this scenario, maybe you were asking corresponding author, for instance, and you wanted to see the code and it wasn't linked. And then maybe you were asking for, or yeah, just sending a long email and getting a very brief answer and thinking, okay, maybe I should have been shorter about this. So there, but yeah, everything is very specific to what the context of the question is. Yes. So for us, it's important that the email subject has some of the context because it is the main topic in our tracker. So just having an email subject with the problem, it's not very useful. Why is my job crashing is much better. Why is my job crashing on Saga is even better. Then you will immediately at least know the system when you start working on it. So yes, I apologize if there is some noise. Do you hear the noise, or has it been cancelled
I
out?
think the Zoom canceled it out very well, Siri. We don't
Okay.
hear. So
That's
is it
good.
some burglars or?
I think yes.
Okay, then it's
Sounds like
fine.
it.
You
Yes.
don't have anything expensive at home, I guess.
No. Yeah. So yes, what we really want you to include in a question, first of all, your username. We can infer it often from your email if you send it from the email that is registered on your user, but it takes a bit of time, so username is faster. Also, if you give us access or allow us to see something in the scripts that your question is about, tell us the exact path to that, and also say that we are allowed to look at this. That would be very helpful. Which machine you're on, because most or many people have access to more than one machine. Yeah, which software the research field might be relevant. And we have already talked a bit about the bash RC, which is what we mean by environment in this case, or if you have made any sourced any files or something when you log in, because any change on your side that wouldn't be the same on our side might be relevant to solving a question. Yes. Okay. Yes, the next thing is the first thing is like very important. So if your code is new or if it has worked before. So if it ever worked or if you're still exploring. And if it used to work, what has changed since it worked? And yes, how long ago did it work? That's also relevant. Yes, and what do you want to do? Both ultimate goal if you're, but also, yeah, also the technical obstacle. But if your ultimate goal could be solved in a different way and you have a technical obstacle with the way you tried to do it the first time, maybe there's another way. Yes, and what did you do? So specific enough to be reproducible, that could be commands that you run or job scripts specifically would be very useful. Yes, and what you need. Do you only need pointers to get started, or is it completely new to you? And yes, so if it's a complete solution that might takes a week, then maybe there is, like Sabri mentioned, some extended support that might be a good option.
So in this case, I remember like a very good example that came a few days ago, Siri,
Yeah.
is that a minimal working example is very useful. For example, when something fails, that we could test it ourselves to see whether there's a general issue with the system or maybe something wrong with the user environment, for example. So there was this example about PyTorch not using GPUs. So the example contained a lot of code and machine learning algorithms and transformers and lot of things. But the actual error was that the code was not placed on CUDA device. It was not placing the code on the GPU. And then the user was trying again and again. And then the complaint was that the GPUs are wrongly configured on Fox. No, I mean,
Okay.
the server, Saga,
Yep.
for example, right? So if you send an email saying your GPUs are wrongly configured, please fix it, then we have to investigate like million things before we actually see what's wrong. But if you send the code, the part of the output which says, CUDA device not found or something, or like it was not properly placed on like the exact error, and send a small piece of code. When you run this code, you will see this error. That's why I think you're not configured. Then we might be able to better help, spending less time, which also means good for the users, because then we will have more time to help more users, and with more issues technically that they can't solve themselves. A minimal working example would be very helpful.
Yes. And we will come back to that as well. Yes. So this is just some more things to consider. So yeah, did it stop working? And sometimes does it fail the same way every time or only sometimes? And if it only fails sometimes, then that points maybe more to that it could be a error on our side. Could be some compute node that has some issue, and you only sometimes hit this node, for instance. Yes, simplify the problem, like Sabri mentioned. Yes. We have documentation online, but yeah, or general, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah, sometimes the web is wrong or outdated, so come ask us questions.
So and the other thing is, now we are coming to the XY problem, but another thing is like a code that never worked before, just sending us a ticket, we are not going to fix it, make it work. So that's impossible. Like something that has never worked before, it's not going to work just magically because it's on HPC. So you have to send the context as you mentioned now, and now you're in a very good position to mention this XY problem as well.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, the XY problem that can happen in support is like the user comes and wants to do X, which is the goal. But before asking, looking around a little bit and thinking that Y is a way to solve X, and it could be a way to solve X. But when trying to do Y, encounters a problem. So then asking for help to fix Y. And then back and forth a bit, and we find out, okay, it's actually X that you want to do. And it might be that Y isn't the suitable or the best solution to achieve X. It could be that Y could be also something that might work on, but not work so well on HPC, for instance.
Do you have like a
Yeah.
more specific example with like specific software? Because there's some comments about, we have to mention a little bit about like specific things.
Oh yeah. I don't have a specific example in mind actually. Do you?
It's difficult to think examples live, but one thing would be that let's say you want to do some analysis, and then your software says that you have to install a certain package in order to do this analysis. And then you try to install the package, and the ticket you send is that the error message you got when you try to install the package, not what you are trying to do. Like maybe there's a different way to do it on HPC. Usually when you search the internet, the help is more customized for example, Ubuntu, like apt-get install this thing, or like do thing, be sudo. So if you send an email that saying, I tried sudo this, it doesn't work, nobody, like even us, don't have root access directly on when you log in. So we have to go through different methods. So instead, if you have tried, I need this software, not like you are trying to install some software like a system package. then it might be more useful. I think maybe Maiken found a better example. Maiken, please go ahead.
It's not maybe better, but it's interesting because there was a question earlier about the cron tab. Can I use cron tab to submit jobs or something like that earlier up in our collaborative document? And it's maybe a good example because, well, no, you cannot. But what is it that you actually want to accomplish with using cron tab? These are the solutions for you instead. So yeah, this is it's an example of the XY problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maiken.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And also just mentioning the reverse XY problem, it's basically just answering the first question and not asking. If we don't ask why, we can maybe, yes, solving y was not so difficult, but it still doesn't really help you solve x, or maybe there's many more steps. But we can close the issue faster. And if we have a lot of things to do, that maybe happens. So it's much better again in this reverse XY question to ask for x. Or at least, yeah, specify what the goal is. Yes. And what we want to try to do, especially when we come with a solution, we will try to give the solution in a way that also shows us how we came to the solution. And yes, at least that's how I would try to solve a case. And yes. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about what happens when you send us a request. We have these tickets that are numbered, and in the background we talk to other people in the organization. If we see that we who's on first line doesn't have the right experience, then we change hands of the tickets to find out, to find the best person. And also, yes, so having a formulated question, it gets to the right person quicker.
And the other thing, Siri, sometimes we see that reply to old tickets. So when a solution is given, as you mentioned here in the last, we close the ticket. So if it is unrelated, for example, if the first question is about the user account not working, and later on in another year you find an issue with I don't know, R package, don't reply to the same ticket. So it will go to different people and it's a different way it's handled. So if it is for one specific reason with context, have one ticket, close the ticket when that is solved, and also when it is solved, then if the solution that we gave worked, please reply saying, oh yeah, thank you, it's worked. You don't even have to say thank you. If you mention that if it works, it gives a closure, so that person who's handling the ticket can go move on to help others.
Yes. Yes. So sometimes we give an answer and we don't know if it actually helped, if we don't get like a final response. So it's very nice for us to know when we would maybe close the ticket, but the ticket will get reopened if you reply to it. So it's not finally closed forever. You can always come back to a ticket, but if it's a different question, then yes, it should be a different ticket. Yes. Okay. So some example requests. Here's a request for logging in. So the good thing for me, at least, about this request is that it says who is asking and where the problem is, and also that the problem is only localized to one cluster. It is not everywhere. And then sending the actual error. So yes, there's a lot of things to like about this. It's brief, but it also shows you, or gives a good place to start for looking at the solution. Yes. Okay, so another more verbose example. And this one, somebody is looking to make or ask if our support line could set up a virtual machine to have a web server with a MySQL database behind. So they would like to have the server, and then giving more specific about what this web server should publish. So they want the data to be fully public and how much data it is. So is this something we could do? Or is this something we could do in a different way? Yes. So this might not be the best solution in our system, but maybe there is something we could do that is a little bit similar. What do you think about this one, Sabri?
Yeah.
It's a bit outside of the scope of usually what you do on an HPC system, but otherwise it's a very nice request.
Yeah, so I mean the person has an issue, but it's not the right place, isn't it, to send it to? So hosting web services. Yeah, so we get questions like this, so then you have to in a polite and diplomatic way, you could point them to another place.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So now we come more about starting on a new machine and how to start running calculations. So when it's about a new machine, it might be the first time you're on an HPC system, but it might also be like you have been on other HPC systems before, if you have worked abroad. So all HPC systems have like slight differences. And on our documentation, we have like tried to make job scripts that works on the different machines. So have a look at seeing how some of the differences that are relevant. And also when starting to work in a new system, starting a very long calculation immediately, it's not the best idea. Okay, yes, so this is about growing your calculations. A good test case is just to run the software for cap it at 5 minutes in the script and select just one core. Specifically going from 1 core to 2 cores is a very important test to do, just to make sure that your code actually is parallelized and will actually efficiently use 2 cores. And then when you know that this works, then you can also try see if it goes and scales well beyond 1 node. Yes, so increasing the system size and checking. So the one like maybe a problem with this is, okay, the realistic system doesn't it can't be done in this small calculations. But then in most cases you can have a synthetic example. And then when you are confident, you go for the realistic system. Yes. So if this is specifically when asking for help, it's good to have and you know that something will fail, it's good to have it fail as early as possible. Also, because it needs to be in the queue, and getting a quick fail will also help a quick response. Can you reproduce the failure in some configurations and not others? Or is it random? Yes. What we mentioned earlier today, having all the dependencies in your script, it's always the best way to do this. Then also you have like a record of what you did for yourself. Maybe a year later, you still need to look at that and try it again, even if it's in your regular work. This is very nice to have, so that you know that you have everything and don't forget something, because the bash RC, it's more like, okay, can you introduce something in your job that you're not expecting? Yes. So this is all what happens in a job script. We have also interactive jobs. If you are testing things out, it might be a good way of testing things. But then also we need to know the commands, because then you don't have a script to send us, but you can send us the commands that you have used.
So another thing is Siri, that we don't when you get a support ticket, we don't have the bash RC the user has, the person who's sending it. So if you are by default loading something and activating some Conda environment, and then you run a job and you get an error, we might never be able to reproduce it or figure out what it is.
Yeah.
So that don't by default load things. And also it might be, if you get it wrong, you might not be able to log in certain things. The bash RC don't try not to load modules, so like activate Conda environments, etc. But you could use it, for example, the module save command that been explained in this shared document, you could use to load an environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So other good things about creating a small example, it can simplify the problem. It can also help you identify the reason that the problem is happening, or at least reduce the number of possible reasons it's happening. The queue time is shorter, both while debugging and also while asking for help. We do not have like a cheat code to go around the queuing. We also know, and we need to go in and have the same, the same system as you in order to help you. Yes. Yep. So sometimes, I've introduced in something when I extended the code. It could be something I did, or it could be something that's failing on the machine. And these are also where having these small examples could help finding out which of these is the case. So if it's stopped working or runs slower, it is most likely the machine if something suddenly changed and the code has not been changed. Yes, so then we will try to find out what's happening and fix it. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, how to do reproducible examples. It should only be a few minutes. Synthetic data is okay. We would like to have a directory with everything, everything that's needed in order to fulfill the example. A tiny README would also be okay, just for us and also for you later. Yeah, and also a possibility, if you and your colleague are in the same project, maybe asking the colleague to also run the example, and do they get the same error or not? Yes. But yeah, we want you to know that you are not alone. So we are here to help. And also in your institution, there might be somebody who's an expert on research software engineering, and they could help you. Or there are sometimes, yes, we organize Q&A sessions. I know that at least the EC has something called an happy hour on Mondays. That's possible if you have easy questions to come there.
Just a
Yes.
comment. We
Yep.
do have the same at UIT for participants who are based on at UIT. We have open office hours for research software engineering.
Yeah, that's very nice to have.
Project.
Yeah, so that's good to know. If you're at UIT, you can come during those hours. Yes.
Staged in the Central Library every Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and if you see a problem, maybe or probably not alone in seeing this problem, and yeah, there's no simple questions. We want to hear everything that you have to say. And also, actually, yes, we should mention that at the end of the day, it's nice that if you fill out, if there is in the collaborative document, if there's anything you liked about the course or anything you want us to improve about the course. I think that could be written at the end of the document.
Yes, Siri, there's our colleagues have placed a feedback session.
Yes.
So please include some feedback. So from feedback since the last many years, we have improved this course a lot, and feedbacks are very useful. It's not about saying bad things about us. It's giving positive criticism. If you have any, we'll fix it. We don't take it personally. And also the one last thing about this this asking question is that before becoming a sysadmin side, I've been also using HPC as a user. So sometimes you get frustrated. For example, if you're very late for a publication to be submitted and something is not working, you try to blame everything else than yourself, right?
Yes.
So then that frustration might come in the ticket. So
yes, or sometimes if this computer didn't work and I needed to do something that day, then I was forced to write on my thesis instead. So
yes. So so if you want the solution to your problem, then the best help is that if you become little the calmer in the question and give context and give minimal examples and ask the question from us. So that it's not if there's a frustration, you could also send it in a separately. But if you mix the frustration and the question in the same thing, we might not be able to handle either. And Siri, you might see that these emergency workers sometimes they walk because they go. They don't run. So so sometimes you have to walk in order to be efficient, not run. So if you slow down a little bit, and also to do it systematically. So maybe some version of a library is failing. Then if you don't record which versions you tried, you again and again would be trying the same thing. So if once tried and if it's not working, you note it down. Okay, this one is not working. No point trying it again. And you could send that list to us. I tried these things. I know that these things are not working. Can you find me another solution?